Please welcome Shira. Shira, where did you go? Here you are. Good evening. My name is Shira Buchsbaum, and I'm a senior at Madison High School in Madison, New Jersey. And I wrote this essay in response to the University of Chicago's supplement essay question, "What's so odd about odd numbers?" After her untimely death, Marina Keegan's critically acclaimed book, The Opposite of Loneliness, was released, enlightening millions with her insightful titular essay, among many other brilliant fiction and nonfiction pieces. Though The Opposite of Loneliness touches upon the beauty of friendship and companionship and the great joys the college years yield to students, it brings up a deeper question. Why do we place so much stock in people being alone? Since the dawn of time, biblically and scientifically, we've defined things: existence, organisms, humans, prosperity, numbers, in sets of two. 1, that's me. 2, that's us. God added Eve so Adam wouldn't be lonely. Noah brought all the animals onto the ark in twos. Eukaryotic cells reproduce sexually to increase genetic variability and thus odds of survival. Every leader has his spouse, every princess finds her prince, every I has a dot, and every T has a cross. These seemingly innate pairs reinforce societal convictions. Everything and everyone has a something or someone they must link up with to be whole. Of course, not everything works out as planned. There's a whale in the sea that travels alone, very abnormal for whales who are naturally social creatures. Scientists believe that its call sends a frequency too high for other whales to hear. Therefore, it has not been able to find anyone. When this whale's tail first came to light, people pitied it. How sad, it must be so lonely. Perhaps, but there's a difference between being lonely and being alone. Loneliness devours the soul. It's debilitating to the mind. It plagues one with the sense of hopelessness and desperation. Loneliness kills. Aloneness, however, is quite healthy. Aloneness can help clear the mind, reorient oneself. Aloneness in a theater, at a bar, on a beach. Not being with anyone, but being content with oneself. Oneself. 1. That is where this odd number thing begins, with 1. Even numbers are defined as being divisible, or rather splittable, into 2 equal sets. Odd numbers are splittable into 2 sets, but with 1 left over, the odd one out, the loner. Let us consider why odd numbers are not odd at all, going so far as to say why they are great. 0 is indeed nothing, but 1, the first counting number, can be considered the all-encompassing value that is the first and foremost contributor to life. Though society has placed great merit in sets of 2s, merit that should not be foregone in favor for the number 1, it must be recognized that 1 is the absolute primary contributor to everything. 1 begins all. Counting, steps, goals, boycotts, riots, revolutions, that's the power of 1. In order to reach 2, we must first have 1. 1 plus 1 does indeed equal 2. Without these components, we cannot have what is considered the greater whole. Thus, it can be proposed that 1 is the greatest thing anything can be. 1 leader of a revolution: Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, Robespierre, Muhammad, Jesus. 1 parent to raise a family: Sandra Bullock, Lenny Kravitz, J.K. Rowling, Barbara Walters, my grandmother. 1 friend to make a difference. There's no harm in being the 1. The 1 left over could be the one to start it all again. What is so odd about odd numbers? Nothing at all, really. Perhaps the only merit in considering the actual numbers odd relates us back to the idea that the greatest stories begin with 1. Great leaders, politicians, artists, writers, teachers, and friends tend to be quite odd. That is to say, bizarre, unusual, unique, interesting, insightful, off the beaten track, curious, peculiar. If these qualities define the oddness of 1, there's nothing to be ashamed of, just as there's no shame in aloneness. Aloneness brings about the greatest revelations, inspirations, aspirations. Alone, all 1. We are all 1. There's nothing lonely about that. Thank you.